Ever open your monthly credit card statement, see the total, and just feel your heart drop? You're probably thinking, wait, is this a mistake? Did someone hack my card? You frown, furiously scrolling through your transactions to find the culprit, totally ready to call the bank and report fraud. But then you look closely, and oh man, there's no hacker. The culprit is you. There's no flat screen TV on there, no crazy expensive vacation, no designer shoes. Instead, it's just a bunch of tiny, harmless looking numbers. $14 for an app you forgot to cancel, $28 for DoorDash because you worked late, $12 at a coffee shop, and $35 on random Amazon stuff. This little army of tiny expenses just added up to a massive number, wiping out the money you busted your ass making all month. That initial panic quickly turns into frustration and honestly, a little bit of guilt. You work your tail off, you make decent money, and you really try not to buy crazy luxury stuff. Yet, somehow, you're still living paycheck to paycheck. Where did the money even go? Well, here's a secret those financial gurus rarely tell you. You are not broke because you lack willpower. You don't suck at managing money. The truth is, we live in a highly engineered system. Massive corporations designed it to make spending money completely invisible. Today, we're exposing the 3 invisible mental traps quietly draining your wallet every single day. And better yet, I'll show you how I redesigned my environment to take back control without cutting out the little things I love. Let's get into it. Before we go any further, listen to me. Stop blaming yourself. You can't hold on to this cash because you're fighting against some of the brightest minds in Silicon Valley. We're talking engineers and psychologists paid millions of dollars a year to do exactly one thing: hide the pain of spending your money. In psychology, there's this concept called the pain of paying. Behavioral economist Dan Ariely points out that when you physically pull a $100 bill out of your wallet, count it, and hand it over, your brain actually registers pain. It's very similar to physical pain. That pain is our natural emergency brake. It forces you to pause and ask, hey, do I actually need this? But look at how we spend money today. Buying a $7 coffee? Just hold up your phone and Face ID it. Buying random stuff on Amazon? Just hit one-click buy. Apple Pay, Tap to Pay, and online shopping ripped that emergency brake right out. They made spending money so smooth, it feels like playing a video game. No friction, no pain, and boom, you're swiping without even thinking. And the final boss of this trap, subscriptions. Remember that photo app you tried for 7 days, edited one picture, and completely forgot about? Then there's Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, your gym, and maybe a meditation app. Check out this crazy study by CNR Research. Americans guess they only spend about $86 a month on subscriptions. But when researchers actually checked their bank statements, the real average was $219. That $133 difference is your invisible thief. It vanishes from your checking account every single month without even asking permission. It's so smooth, you don't even realize you're bleeding money. But tap to pay and auto renewals are only half the story. Easy spending wouldn't be that dangerous if our brains were always super sharp. The thing is, this system is engineered to hit you the hardest exactly when you are the weakest. And that brings us to enemy number 2. You know when that weakest moment usually is? It's usually around 6:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. Picture this. You just survived a terrible day at work. Your boss complained, coworkers were annoying, and you sat through bumper-to-bumper traffic to get home. When you walk through that door and drop your bag on the couch, you are physically and mentally exhausted. You know perfectly well you have leftovers in the fridge. You should just heat them up. But right then, just the thought of chopping onions and doing dishes makes you want to cry. So out of pure habit, you pull out your phone and DoorDash a $35 meal. That includes service fees, delivery fees, and a huge tip for food that should only cost $15. Or maybe you do a quick Target run for just toothpaste and walk out with an $80 receipt full of random junk. And you know what your brain is whispering right then. Today was so hard. I deserve a break. Treat yourself. If you're feeling called out right now, again, don't beat yourself up. This isn't because you're lazy or lack discipline. Psychology calls this decision fatigue and ego depletion. Think of your willpower like your phone battery. You wake up, it's at 100%. Dragging yourself out of bed takes 10%. Dealing with a mess of emails drains 20%. Forcing a smile in that meeting Boom, another 30% gone. By 7 p.m., your willpower battery is flashing red. When your brain is totally drained, it automatically shuts off its logical thinking mode. You know, the part that tells you to save money. Instead, it jumps straight into short-term comfort mode. It wants a hit of dopamine right now. And guess what? The massive marketing machines know this. It's no accident that ads for juicy burgers and late-night flash sales suddenly pop up on your feed in the evening. They aren't targeting you when you're sharpest. They're patiently waiting for your armor to drop. They turn treat-yourself culture into the perfect excuse to swipe your card without a second thought. Here's the core issue. We're trying to use tiny financial rewards to fix emotional exhaustion. But the tragedy is, the joy of takeout lasts exactly 15 minutes. That $35 hole in your budget that stays there until the end of the month. Right now, you might be thinking, okay, I get it. I just need to hustle, make more money, get a raise, and these little delivery fees won't even matter. Actually, that is the sweetest lie of all, and it's the third trap. The silent thief most of us willingly surrender to once we start making real money. Remember when you were in college or when you first moved out? You survived on ramen noodles, shared a tiny apartment with 3 roommates, lived on $1,500 a month, and did just fine. Back then, you definitely promised yourself, man, if I could just make $5,000 a month, I'd save half of it, I'd be rich. Then that day actually comes. You graduate, get a job, get promoted, you're making $5,000, maybe even $8,000 a month. But weirdly enough, by the end of the month, your bank account is still screaming for help. Where did the money go? You didn't go buy a Ferrari or a yacht. Your money just vanished into invisible upgrades that sounded totally reasonable at the time. You moved into a solo apartment because, hey, I work hard, I need my own space. You upgraded from Walmart to Whole Foods because I need to eat healthy. You financed a new car instead of driving a beater because it's safer. Little by little, your baseline for normal just creeps higher and higher. The pros call this lifestyle creep. And if you're stuck in this loop, well, congratulations, you're exactly like most of America. According to a wild report by Lending Club, over 50% of Americans making 6 figures are still living paycheck to paycheck. Stop and think about that for a second. Over $100,000 a year. That used to be the American dream, right? Yet more than half of them are struggling every single month. Why does this happen? It comes down to a rule called Parkinson's Law. It states one brutal fact. Expenses always expand to meet your income. Just like gas, money will automatically expand to fill whatever space you give it. Whenever your brain sees money sitting in your checking account, it goes, oh, sweet, I have cash. I can grab this, I can subscribe to that. It always finds a way to justify spending every last dime. So, telling yourself, I'll spend less this month, or I'll use my willpower, is just lying to yourself. Between a frictionless spending system, an exhausted brain, and Parkinson's Law blowing up your income, your willpower doesn't stand a chance. You just can't use mental strength to beat a system rigged to drain your wallet. Bottom line, you don't need iron willpower. What you need is a system of your own. And right now, I'm going to show you exactly how I took back control so I can spend freely without ever feeling guilty. Look, the absolute worst, most cliche financial advice out there is, just try harder, or track every single penny. Telling someone who's exhausted after work to use your willpower is as useless as telling someone drowning to just breathe underwater. If these huge corporations are using frictionless payments to pull money from you, you have to fight back using artificial friction. This isn't about forcing yourself to stop buying things. It's about redesigning your environment. Here's the first thing I did. I went straight into Safari, Chrome, Apple Pay, and Amazon, and I completely deleted all my saved credit card info. I killed the convenience. Now what? If it's 9 p.m., I'm lounging in bed and I want to buy some random thing online, I can't just hit one click. If I want it, I have to throw off the covers, get out of bed, find my wallet in my coat, pull out the card, and type out those long numbers one by one. And you know what? That annoying physical action is my emergency brake. It wakes up my logical brain and brings back the pain of paying. 90% of the time, I realize I'm so lazy I'd rather just go to sleep than hunt for my card. I literally weaponized my own laziness to protect my money. Sounds crazy, but it works like magic. But what about the days when you are totally wrecked and just desperately want some boba or fried chicken? Listen, I don't believe in restricting yourself. The more you restrict, the more likely you'll snap and go on a revenge spending spree. Instead, I set up a guilt-free spending account. I opened a totally separate debit card, not connected to my main paycheck account. At the beginning of the month, I automatically transfer exactly $200 to this card. This card has exactly one purpose: buying joy. Want to grab Starbucks every morning? Swipe this card. Craving DoorDash? Swipe this card. Go crazy, no second guessing, zero guilt. But the rules are hardcore. Once the card declines, game over. No pulling from savings, no grabbing the credit card to cover it. Doing it this way, you get to fully enjoy your treats, while locking Parkinson's Law in a tiny cage where you hold the key. Remember that heart-dropping panic on a Friday afternoon checking your banking app? I broke up with that feeling a long time ago. Now, when I open my phone, I see my main account is perfectly safe, and my guilt-free card is just doing its job. See? You don't have to strip away your little joys. You just have to bring them into the light and give them a clear boundary. That is how you take back power from a system that always wants you to lose. Exposing these invisible traps and creating your own friction doesn't just save you a few $100 a month. It's about taking back ownership of your life. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, has a brutal but incredibly true quote about this. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Your empty wallet right now doesn't mean you lack willpower or character. It's simply a direct reflection of the system you're living in. Change the system and you change the outcome. But hey, even if you set up a killer system to manage your present, there's another mental trap waiting for you that is way more dangerous. Let's be real for a second. How many times have you stared at your empty bank account and sighed, "Man, I messed up this month. Whatever, next month. Next month, I'm definitely going to save. Next month, I'll start paying off debt." Why do we always hallucinate that our next month selves will magically have more willpower, more discipline, more money, and be way less tired than we are today? Why do we love passing the buck and leaving our financial messes for our future selves to clean up? That's not optimism, guys. That is a massive illusion. In the next video right here on the screen, I'm exposing the truth behind this next month syndrome. I'll break down exactly why our brains are hardwired to procrastinate with money. Click to watch why next month is never actually coming and how to break out of that procrastination loop for good. See you over there.